Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Dennis and Andy Show, 5 p.m. on Wednesdays. Dennis got excited because I said, welcome back, and he thought I was talking to him. But no, buddy, no. You're not even representing today. You got some Green Bay garbage on. You're not even here. You take this little hiatus to go gallivanting around the country again. Whoa, must be nice, Dennis. Must be nice.
I know. What can I say? Boy, what a peaceful break from Andy that has been. Yeah, gone
Man,
almost 2 weeks, and no, it was nonstop. We headed up to the Buffalo area, over to Niagara Falls. Got to spend some time on both sides of the fall. So we were on the American and the Canadian side. That was
Whoa! I hope you spoke very carefully on the Canadian side, because any wrong thing coming out of your mouth and you could have been locked up, buddy.
Hey, there. I just spoke like that, and they understood, and we drove around the roundabouts, and it was all good. The funny thing is, we met a lot of great people. One of the guys that we met at one of the restaurants, he's from there. He really does speak with that accent, and he was just one of the greatest guys to talk to. It was a blast. And we came down and we hit the capital in Lansing, Michigan, because it's one of the few capitals. So got 47 of the state capitals checked off, 3 more to go. And then we took the big coal ferry across. So that was nice. We got to go on the SS Badger, the only powered coal ferry, and we tootled all the way across Lake Michigan on that ferry. And you're looking at the SS Badger Trivia Champion.
I got to say, not the first time you've ridden a ferry.
So. Oh, I knew you were going to make a comment, but yep, 80s trivia. There were a lot of people on there. My wife did not want to play, and she decided, well, I'll stick around because she goes, Dennis is pretty good with trivia. Destroyed the competition, so it was good. I got my deck of cards as a prize. So it was awesome.
Well, I can't wait to see what you bring me next week, because I know you picked me up something as a friendship gift.
Yeah, that would require actually shopping. We did not have time to do a lot of shopping. We hit one really cool comic shop, and it's a gaming shop in Lansing called Summit. And that was a really cool place. It was much bigger than their pictures because they have like doubled in size. So they had a lot of real cool stuff. I did not have blackface.
Nope.
We stayed down and played cards and trivia, and it was just a good trip.
Randy, Dennis only did that one time in college, and it was when they were reenacting that movie, White Men Can't Jump, and he played Wesley Snipes. Other than that, that's the only time, and there are no pictures, so he can't.
And I still can't jump. That there is truth to that. But man, I got to go down and visit, Manitowoc and Sheboygan, a lot of the places where I live. Checked out where we used to do, where my son was born, where my businesses were. It was a great time.
All right, stop making up names. Jesus, I hate it when you do that. Harry B is in the house. Hello, Marcus. Hello, Nicholas. Hello, Randy Howell, of course, posting links like a boss. What is up? We do, of course, have a guest today. And yeah, Dennis, they got back late last night. We talked. He's like, dude, I'm hanging here. I said, that's fine. I'm jamming on this new page of Kor-Drath. So it all worked out. But yes, we do have a guest. I'm just going to go with Vito because I know I would totally F up the pronunciation of that last name. Dennis, you can give it a try if you want.
I would guess it would be Gesualdi. So we will find out when we come up if I was even close.
All right, let's bring him in. What's up, Vito?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Hey, Vito, how close or how bad did I butcher it?
Well, here's the thing, Dennis. It's actually interesting is that my entire family has been pronouncing it Gesualdi. But my sister looked into the root of the word and she's like, we're all pronouncing it wrong. It should be Gesualdi. So you pronounced it the way it should be pronounced. My idiot family has Americanized it and butcherized it and turned it into Gesualdi, which is not a
I
good
was going to say that.
syllable to start a word. Yeah, it's not a good. The kids in high school loved that name. Like, oh, here comes the Jizz Man. Here comes the Jizzmeister. And I was like, yeah, I know. All right. Thank you.
Dude,
So,
I gotta say,
See, it
I-
already happened.
I never
exactly.
I never would have even imagined pronouncing it that way just because it's GES.
Gee,
I don't get.
how do you get jizz out of that? I don't know, but
I
that's just
know.
always. When
Oh
I was
my
when I was
God,
really
that is-
young, I don't think it had that slang connotation. But then I think around the '90s, jizz became a very popular term for a certain substance. And well, what are you gonna do?
Yeah. What
Yeah, that
about Mary
probably
or
was probably
whatever?
right before the what's up?
Yeah, right around that time.
That's right. That's right. Well, I hope you're doing well. This is the first, so everybody watching knows this is literally the first time we have spoken to Vito. So
Yeah.
this is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it, not only because of your campaign, which I think is pretty cool looking, but
Thank
just
you.
because of your background and what you do and stuff as well.
Yeah,
So
one of the things we always like to do, and I guess we'll kind of roll into it. You know, you're new to our channel, so some of our viewers may know you, some of them may not. So we always kind of want to find out your comic book superhero origin story. How did you get into comic books? You know, did you get one as a gift as a kid? Did you go buy them? How did you get into it? And how did that lead into you getting into comics?
Well, I'm trying to think back, like what because when I was coming up, I was born in what do you call it, 87. So at some point,
my God, sorry.
yeah, I'm a baby.
I graduated high school in
I
'87.
I feel like an old man now, but I know that there's a lot of older. Yeah. Anyway, so when I was coming up, though, I would be going to the local, like a Barnes and Noble or whatever else. And this was right around the time there was I think the manga explosion really started catching on. Like we started seeing a lot of manga titles, and I don't know exactly what caught my eye first. I would just basically, my mom would, drop me off at the mall. I would go, and I was reading, basically whatever I could find, and I'm sure there was some American comics mixed in there. But I think what I found, I don't know why I got hooked on this, but Battle Angel Alita was like a formative experience for me, and that was put out by Viz at the time, because I was I was like a stupid little kid. I'm like, Pokemon, obviously I was into that at the time, so I kind of understood, and Sailor Moon, whatever was on Cartoon Network at the time. But then I was like, oh, I'm reading these Pokemon comic books. I'm like, well, let me see what else they got. And I was reading Battle Angel Alita. I don't know if you guys ever read it, but like I was horrified. It's like so violent. The first chapter has a bad guy who just grabs a guy off the street, tears open his skull, and eats his brains. And as a kid, I was like, at first I like put it down. I'm like, I don't know if I'm allowed to read this. And then I picked it back up. I'm like, but I gotta know, like, are they gonna fight that guy? What the hell's gonna happen? So that was like some weird, like, body horror, cyberpunk nonsense. And then I start going down the realm of, watching Akira on VHS and freaking myself out. So a lot of my background is manga. Then from there, I think I gravitated towards the Western comics. And there was a period of time right around, I know I picked up like Old Man Logan at the time, not World War Hulk, Planet Hulk, all that kind of stuff. So that kind of, what was that, like the 2000s? So I would have been in high school around that time.
Yeah, it was like 2006 for Planet Hulk because Buddy worked on it. So yeah, around then.
2006 was literally the year I graduated high school. So that was when I started looking at the Western stuff, Planet Hulk, and just a wide variety of influences. I also got really into Daniel Clowes, the guy who does Ghost World and that stuff, like the American kind of indie comics. Scott Pilgrim was a big thing at the time. Yeah. So kind of, I know this all to you guys. You're like, oh, that's all new stuff. I'm like, well, when I was coming up, it was kind of like, what was big at the time, and kind of a weird, diverse mix of different influences.
That's cool. What did you? I'm trying to think. Wasn't the Battle Angel? Wasn't that the movie with Christopher Waltz?
Yes, and I have a big long review about how the movie's great if you haven't read the manga. If you've read the manga, you're like, oh god, it's like they made a kid version of the story.
Oh, really? See,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
can now. I know of the manga, and I like the art in it, but I never read it,
the
and
manga is
but I
like
have seen the movie,
yeah.
and I did enjoy the movie. But
Yeah, the movie is like it's taking some of the beats, but it literally like if you've read the manga and you've seen the heads getting ripped open and splattered against walls and all the insane Cronenberg body horror, like the guy Edward Norton plays at the end of the movie and reveals he's the big bad guy. That guy at one point, they go and like find his secret lab in the desert. He just has all these guys that he's hacked up, and like one guy's just like a brain stem with like robot limbs, and you're like, oh, this is horrifying. And then the movie, it's like, he's a generic bad guy villain. All right, fine, whatever. So it's a good movie. I'm not gonna say it's Battle Angel Alita. It's like it's the way that like Starship Troopers the movie is not really anything like Starship Troopers the book. I love Starship Troopers the movie, but it's not the same franchise to me. But I'm hoping it's a gateway for people. Honestly, Battle Angel is so great. I hope people read the manga. The only problem is the new translation they put out for the movie is actually like infinitely worse than the translation you can't get anymore. And I feel they really dropped the ball. I'm sad about it.
Really?
As long as you weren't going to compare
Yeah.
it, I thought you were going to compare it to like The Last Airbender.
That's a whole different thing. No, it's really.
How would you compare it to? Because we saw Ghost in the Shell, and I've read Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah,
and I was just like,
Ghost in the Shell is hard to read. I feel I've never been able to really get into that book. And then that guy at some point was like, I just want to make porn now. And that's just, have you seen what the Ghost in the Shell guy went on to?
Oh yeah.
He made a ton of money. And then he's like, now I just want to draw women covered in grease. I just want to draw greasy lesbians humping eeach other. And I'm like, I kind of respect that. Okay, man. Like if that's all you really want.
Hey, dude, if that's how you can make your bones, then go ahead.
Exactly.
I have some of his trading cards. It's all just Japanese women squirting, body oil on each other and going to the pool. So
I didn't know that's what I didn't know that's what he was doing now. Wow. No, because I have, back in the early 90s, they put out really nice big softcover art books of his.
Yeah.
Which I got, and then that got me on to Ghost in the Shell because I just love the guy's artwork. But
honestly, the art is still really cool. It's just
I'm sure
it's all greasy lesbians. Look up like Galhound. It's like a cool cyberpunk science fiction thing, but it's all hot chicks who make out with each other. And I'm like, all right, man. Well, you made a ton of money licensing the movie rights and the anime rights. Like, yeah, go have fun. Who cares? You don't have to do anything else for the rest of your life.
Now I gotta look that up.
Nice.
Yeah,
I can't not.
And you got to read the original translation of Battle Angel Alita, because sadly, the new translation, I think they really dropped the ball, because I think a lot of people saw that movie and they're like, oh, I'll go read the comic. And it's just this totally flat translation with like no magic to it. And people are like, yeah, the comic's okay. I'm like, no, if you read the original, like it's so much deeper and more interesting. It really drives me nuts. It's a huge missed opportunity to get people hooked on
it's got to be on. I would assume it's got to be on eBay or something. So
yeah, honestly, the Internet Archive had it for a while. Archive.org has all the Battle Angel Alita fans. Yeah, it's sorry, I could talk about Alita all day. Not enough people have read it. Dude. It's crazy.
No, that's cool.
So how did that translate into? I need to do comics.
Well, I'll tell you what. There's a variety of things. One is, so the comic I'm doing now is called SUPERKILLER, and maybe we'll get into the plot or whatever else. But this was actually back.
Oh, we will.
Yeah, in high school, I read this. It's based on a couple different influences, but basically, this was an idea. There's this Japanese comic, again, this weirdo manga called Boku Rano. It's about a bunch of high schoolers who have to pilot a giant robot against other giant robots from different universes, like literally from other Earths, and whichever one of them wins or whichever one of them loses, their universe gets erased from reality. So it's a bunch of high schoolers being like, well, this is really heavy. I don't want to deal with this, but I guess we have to. And I was kind of like, wow, the whole idea of like, there's a multiverse, but there's not enough room for all the universes. And there has to be some way of determining which universes get bumped off. I was like, that would be a cool, if you could do that in like a superhero universe, that would be a cool twist. So I had this idea for a character who he's like a multiversal assassin, that he's tasked by whatever, you know, a governing body governs the multiverse to say, listen, this universe has been chosen for cancellation. We're not going to tell you how we choose these universes for cancellation, but the point is your job is to go there, kill their primary superhero, and in doing so, that's going to disconnect their universe from the cosmic circuit breaker and prevent all of reality from collapsing in on itself. The idea being that if multiverses keep getting created, they're all going to die. So we have to bump some of them off. And, you know, I'm not going to tell you if it's a flip of the coin or if there's some sinister cabal, you know, deciding which universes get scheduled. But basically, it's about a guy who gets pulled into this job and he does not like the job. He's not happy about this, you know? He's not like, oh boy, I get to go end worlds. He's like, this is psychologically fucked. Jesus Christ, you're telling me I'm going to kill a billion people? And they're like, yeah, and go do it.
He does look happy on the cover.
I was going to say,
I was going to say he looks a little happy on the cover.
Well, I think what we find out is that in order to cope with the psychological stress of this job, he's got to the point where he's just treating it. He's going, it's my job. I go in, I kill the guy. I'm not going to think about the fact that in doing so, I'm ending billions of lives. Just, I'm going to get it done. And he also has a thing in his head where he knows after, you know, he's ended 100 worlds, killed 100 heroes, it's over. He can retire. He never has to do it again. So he's just like, just focus on the mission, push through. I'm not happy that I got to kill Superman. Superman's a nice guy. I don't want to kill Superman, but that's the rule of the job and I have to do it. You know, I don't want all of reality to collapse.
So basically, when he goes to the world, he has to wipe out the entire world. Therefore, they send all their superheroes to save the world, so he has to go through all of them.
Well, he has a specific target. So the way we've set it up is that each universes are self-aware. They know that at any point they could be canceled by the multiverse or whatever else. Oh. So they always have a chosen one. Okay. In Star Wars, your chosen one is Luke Skywalker. In DC Comics, let's say it is Superman. I know there's other heroes, but there's always going to be one guy who's the heart of the universe. Yep. And normally when they die, the role of chosen one, you know, if they die of natural causes or they die in battle, the universe goes, okay, my chosen one died. Let me pass it on to this guy. Now Green Lantern's the heart of our universe or whatever. He has a special mechanism that enables him to basically disrupt that protocol, that he kills Superman and the universe goes, hold on, error alert, we don't have a chosen one anymore. I have no way to reboot that power and give it to anyone else. I'm just going to shut down. I essentially give up. So it's this thing where as long as you can kill whoever the primary hero is and do it, you know, he has to be the one to do it. You know, again, if the guy dies, we have plans for an issue where like the chosen one dies of a drug overdose and then he goes, oh God, who did it transfer to? And has to figure out who the new, chosen one in the universe is. So those are the rules. He knows he has to kill. For instance, in the first issue, he's basically going after Superman. But as he explains, he doesn't have any powers. All he has is this gun that kills superheroes, which sounds like, oh, so what? He just goes and shoots them? Well, no, because how do you shoot a superhero? Batman's been doing this for 100 years. How many people have successfully shot Batman? Right. Shooting a superhero is these guys, if bullets come at them, they're like, that's like the one thing that they have some supernatural instinct to avoid getting shot. So it's really about setting up these elaborate, weird Rube Goldberg plans to learn, like, how are you going to shoot the Flash? He's faster than the speed of light. So it's less about the gun and more about how do you get the Flash into a situation where you can then hopefully take him down with your magical space gun.
Right.
So obviously Sam is a smart character.
He's a planner. I want to say he's semi clever. But what's great is that this first issue is setting up that he's going to team up with this girl that he meets. And basically the thing about her is that she's a huge comic book nerd. So at first he's like, who's this useless girl? You know, through a convoluted series of things, he's forced to enlist her as his sidekick. And he goes, oh God, I have a girl following me around. This is going to be a waste of my time. And then she's like, oh, you're fighting the Flash? Why don't you use like ice? Or like, why don't you do like in issue 268? Oh. He's like, oh shit, you're useful to me. So it's going to be this kind of, she's going to be kind of the planner, or at least helping him figure things out. And they're going to be like this. it's like Sliders. It's like Quantum Leap, where every story arc or every episode you go to a new universe. It's like, okay, we're in a fantasy universe. The king is Conan the Barbarian. Okay, he's not just going to let you shoot him, and also he's a big guy, so it might take multiple shots. How do you stop Conan? How do you stop Luke Skywalker? How do you stop Elon Musk with a robot body in a universe where he's turned everybody into his robot slaves? Like, there's a million different possible hooks, and it's all going to be the plan of, trying to get them into a situation where they can basically finish these guys off.
That's cool. And I gotta say, one of the things too, being an artist, I always usually gravitate right towards the art to see how it looks. I like the style of the artist you have.
Thank you.
I think it's really cool. And now that I know of your background with manga and stuff, I can see it with, what you're going for art wise. And I think it works,
He has an interesting background too. I think he has the same thing where, I looked at his portfolio and there was a lot of superhero stuff, but also a lot of like anime manga stuff. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. It's like kind of the perfect middle ground of art styles. And, I've had some people say, oh, it's too cartoony. It should be more serious. I'm like, no. I want to make this book. Ultimately, it's dark comedy. It's going to switch. I compare it to something like Rick and Morty, not as zany as a Rick and Morty, but it's like, okay, this is fun. This is wacky. But then occasionally it's going to get serious and the characters go, hey, it's kind of fucked what we're doing. Who's in charge here? Like, is there any way to actually save these universes as opposed to destroying them? And just kind of uncovering all the mysteries of exactly what's going on here.
That's cool. Now, I see the art here is in black and white. Is the book black and white? Let the audience know. Or is it color? What's the deal with that?
Honestly, we're still figuring out. I've experimented with a couple different colorists. Ultimately, I really like the line work that my artist is doing, Keter. So I just don't want anything that overshadows it. I was thinking it might be like a kind of very minimal coloring style.
I mean, like dude, honestly, you look at this. This is perfect.
Yeah.
I don't,
honestly, that's kind of what I'm aiming for. I think the more I think about it.
Well, the thing is, your artist is doing the tones with the grayscale. So flat color, you don't really need more than that. And honestly, a book like this, I think it doesn't need, I guess you could say, like all the bells and whistles and stuff that can be done. Sometimes less is more. And just looking at these characters that you have here and how they're colored, I think it's great.
I really like these character. These were the character sheets he put. And you're right. I want to keep it flat. He actually tried doing some color with all the shading and the lighting, and I was like, no, flat. Again, I'm like a big Daniel Clowes guy, the kind of indie comic scene, and I love that. Or Mike Allred, Mad Men
my god,
comics.
I love Mike Allred. Yeah.
Oh, I love Allred. I reached out to find out how much a cover costs. I went, well, I can't afford Allred. I can tell you that.
Oh no, that's too bad. Yeah, that would have been nice too. I could see him do this style.
Yeah, I didn't mention that earlier, but Allred was actually one. Mad Men was one of the first comics I ever owned. I actually found it at like a thrift store, and I the first 3 issues, the original arc. So that's actually like a huge influence for this book as well. I mean, just the idea of a guy with a stupid toy gun and whatever else, and the kind of cartoony tone. But yeah, definitely aiming getting like an Allred kind of coloring job would be fantastic.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm a big Madman fan.
Brian mentioned about the color. He goes, like me, I'm a black and white fan. I got a lot of comics that way, but with these type, just a little bit of color, a little dabble do ya.
Exactly.
That's right.
Yeah, keep it subtle, but I just don't want to overpower like the actual.
By the way, I love Artie.
Fantastic.
I
also love Artie.
Yeah, that was great. I was just wondering if it was after Artie Bear.
Unfortunately, I don't know where I came up with that name. I think I have a little acronym there.
Yeah, Artificial Electronic Mission Information System. I love it, Artemis.
Yeah, he's gonna be pop up and provide a little bit of comic relief and.
I love the blood splatter on him. So
yeah, that's the thing. He's supposed to be just like this little, that's the other thing about this universe is as it goes along, we're gonna meet. Sam is not the only assassin. There's other assassins that are out there working, and they all have like a normal robot who helps them out. He's just like, you have 6 hours left on this mission. You gotta find. And Artie's flying around. He's like, yeah, kill that motherfucker. You see. He's like,
Nice.
you're not helpful. Shut up. Fighting with
Well,
him.
I do love the fact his catchphrase is redacted for obscenity.
I know.
Dude, this just looks like a lot of fun. This is, I think the premise is really fun and interesting, and I think it just sounds like you're having a lot of fun with this. So this is the first book, and I'm assuming by what you're saying, you're going to just put out issue after issue.
That's my hope. I would love to get into a rhythm where somehow I could do multiple issues a year. It's obviously hard these days and everybody's very busy, but the way the campaign is going, we've raised a good amount so far. It's all going to be about, right now, like my artist Ketter, he's a busy guy. He's a great artist, so he gets a lot of work. It would be great if I could go, listen, man, I can guarantee you this much money, this many times a year. If we lock it down, if he's not available, maybe I can, find somebody similar or have, swap them out between issues or something. I don't know. But it is the kind of thing where I just think there's like so much potential. I have a giant document of like different worlds they could go to, different adventures. And I really want to see what I can do with it. Obviously, we got to get the first book out, and I hope people love it. And if they do, maybe this thing has legs and we can really have a lot of fun with these characters.
No, that's cool. Let's so going through the tiers real quick. We've got obviously cover A. Oh, how many pages? 52. So 52 pages. Just because I know some people rather hear us give them all the information and try to read it. So 52 pages. Cover A is $25, which is cool. And then cover B,
like the retail cover that you that'll be available for sale pretty much whenever. And then cover B, that's the crowdfunding exclusive cover.
Oh, okay. And that same, it's your main artist, right?
Yeah. If you scroll down on that page, you'll see them in bigger.
Okay.
You can actually see all the tiers a lot larger. Cool. I spent too much time on this page. I looked at other campaigns and I'm like, I probably did not need to put as much crap as I put, but
that's always good.
It's always
so there's the main one, which is cool. And then so that's good to know. That's the crowdfunding cover as you have listed. So only available here.
Yeah.
So
and I'm glad if you look, it's like 214 of cover A sold and 230 of cover B. So there's like a very even split. Then cover C is kind of got a story to it.
I was curious. I had seen that. So what is the story on this bad boy?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Again, I grew up in the 90s, and back in the 90s, the only way to get anime tapes was to go to the flea market, and some guy had a bunch of bootleg VHS tapes with printed out covers. Okay.
Oh yeah.
And if you were buying the tapes at one point, that guy would always go, "Hey kid, you want to see something weird?" And you go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You got to watch this." And it was always La Blue Girl, which is an anime about ninjas who fight to the death with sex. And I had that tape as a kid, and I would always make my friends watch it because it was fucking hilarious. And it was based on a manga by Toshio Maeda. Now, you know about tentacle hentai, obviously. You've heard of this, right?
Yeah.
The reason you have heard of it is because of this man. He's the one who made it a thing. He's the godfather of tentacle comics in Japan. Okay, really? Blue Girl, Legend of the Overfiend Haruka Tsudoji, all this weird horror manga where women would be running from these terrible alien monsters and inevitably get pulled down by their horrible sticky appendages. So I met him 10 years ago at New York Comic Con. I bought, one of his original pieces. It was one of my prized possessions. I was like, I own an original Toshio Miura. I can't believe it. And then I was making this. I'm like, I want to do, like a not safe for work cover, which is a common thing that a lot of people do with these campaigns. And I was like, well, could I get that guy? I'm like, he's like an old Japanese man. Like, I don't even know. And I looked up his contact information and sent him an email. I'm like, hey, I met you at a con 10 years ago. I don't even know if you still draw. Do you want to draw a tentacle cover for my comic? And he's like, yes. I'm like, all right, we got it. Let's make it happen. So
I blanked. You met him 10 years ago. How did you track him down though? Because I'm sure you didn't get his contact information 10 years ago.
I had to Google a bunch of things, and I had to find some old broken websites and go into the Wayback Machine to find his website
Yeah.
from 1998 that had some prefecture address in Japan and connect that to an email. So I eventually tracked him down, and he's just like an old retired Japanese guy. I don't even think he's like making comics anymore. And he's like, yeah, I could, yeah, sure, let's do it. So I got him, and again, there's our female character, and this is again, they travel from universe to universe. People are like, is this in the comic? I'm like, no, but it's from like an imagined adventure where they end up in some Japanese anime universe, and of course our female character has to contend with those shenanigans. This version, it's a little more, but it comes with a poster so you can disappoint your family by hanging that on your wall.
Dude, that is so awesome, because I'm like, once again, this just shows I don't have a deep knowledge of manga and stuff, so
yeah,
the name didn't ring a bell to me, but the theme.
But you've heard of tentacles, you know of those.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, it's probably because of this guy. I swear, he's a weird, perverted old man, and I love what he makes. It's fucking hilarious.
That is awesome.
The only problem
so
was I did have to tell him to rein it in, though. I was like, listen, I can't have her getting split open by tentacles. Like, that's gonna be a hard sell. Can you make it like kind of suggestive? And he's like, yeah.
I don't even. I gotta be honest, though. I don't even know if I would say this isn't not safe for work. This is fine to put on a rack at a comic shop. There's no nudity
exactly.
or anything.
I pulled it back a little. Well, you should have seen the sketches he turned in. I'm like, no, you can't have 10 dick tentacles going in her mouth. I can't sell that.
You want to bet?
I mean, I could sell it, but like, I'm hoping this franchise has legs, and it would be weird if, I'm trying to pitch it to like get it animated, and they're like, so let's talk about the cover where the female protagonist gets brutally raped. And I'm like, okay, that's going to be a hard sell.
So
there's some optics.
So does the poster tie in with, because the other ones don't say poster unless I'm missing something?
No, the other ones do not include a poster. This is just so if you really want that tentacle excitement on your wall, if you really want to celebrate it, you get a little poster.
Right. So you've got the cover and the poster.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There you go. That is that's freaking that's hilarious.
Some people get it. Some people are like, what the fuck? I have no idea what this is, but it's for me, man.
No, that's awesome. And then the Super Killer triple pack. So if you want to get them all and save $10 while you're at it, well, there you go. So that's a great deal. Hell yeah. I assume if they do this, do they get the poster as well, or no?
Yeah. You get everything.
Okay, so look at that. You get it all.
That's awesome. You really want to get the whole suggested set.
I got to tell you, I love this going all in lunchbox and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, I've talked to Ethan Van Sciver a bunch.
Oh yeah.
And me and him have the same thing, because he's making like toys and he's making all sorts of
stuff.
Oh,
I know.
And both me and him, I'm like, it's all about the tchotchkes, man. Like, there's no point in making this if I'm not making tchotchkes. Like, look at my room. It's covered in crap. I'm making this for myself, so I can put my own crap all over my walls. But yeah, here we have the lunchbox, which actually plays into the story. I haven't gotten into that yet, but the lunchbox is essential to the Super Killer narrative. But I don't think that's going to show up till the second issue, sadly. This, you can get the foil cover variant. So if you really want the fanciest possible cover, a nice little art book with some series details in that's exclusive to this as well. Some pins. Obviously, got to have Pogs. I mean, come on. What are you doing without Pogs? Oh, yeah.
That's old school right there.
And why have Pogs without the Metal Slammer for the Pogs? And then a yo-yo for no reason.
Yeah, man.
I was like, who doesn't want a yo-yo? So that's going to be fun. I don't even know what the margins are on this. I might lose money on the friggin' lunchbox, but just the fun of getting people all this stuff is going to be great.
No, man, that's cool. And then, of course, let's just go right here with these last two. You got the triple pack and the collector's edition. So
that bundles it all together so you can grab it all.
Yep. And then everything.
And that includes a lot of the
plushies.
Oh, yeah. We got some add-on items if you scroll down. There's a couple other cool things that we got. First of all, we have these trading cards, so these are going to go to everybody who backs it.
Oh, cool.
And what's great about this is it's just a bunch of little small time independent artists, other comic guys, other just like enthusiasts or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, guys I know, fans of the show or friends or whatever. And these are going to come with everything. It's been great, you know. And also, you know, a lot of these guys are out here scrounging for commissions, trying to get work. So if you like anything you see, check out their profiles. We got links to all that stuff. I actually have to add.
Cool.
We're already past 40,000, so I have to add all. We're getting pledges faster than I have the cards ready to show. I'm like, oh god, all right. So I got to add to that today. Already up to 8 cards.
Nice.
So for add-ons, you can get the book signed, $5. I'll throw it on there.
Cool.
The plush toys. Look, I'm an idiot. Because look, I'll be real. It's not everybody's buying a plush toy, but I just want them to have. I've sold enough of them where I'm happy about it.
You want them for you.
Yes. Do you guys do cons? Do you guys go to conventions or whatever?
Of
Your books there?
Oh yeah, dude.
I want to be the guy at the con, and I don't want my booth. I just have one book. I want to be exciting. I want to have a bunch of garbage and tchotchkes and everything. So I'm really looking forward to when this book comes out. I just want to sit in my booth, tell people about my characters, get them excited. You know, I'll probably give half these things away as like freebies at some point, but right now, I am very impressed with how these came out. China can make
they look good.
Oh, dude, China is. I just sent them some sketches, and they're like, "How about this?" And I'm like, "Wow, you nailed it! Like on the first try, they look incredible." So very excited.
Cool. Yeah, it looks great, and 7.5 inches tall. I mean,
they're actually pretty big. Yeah,
that's good size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enemy weapon. Tell us a little bit about this. What do we got here?
So, a few years ago, I ran my first real crowdfunding campaign, which was for a card game. You guys ever play like Cards Against Humanity or seen it? Those kind of party games?
I know. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's a game like that where there's 2 types of cards. There's enemy cards and there's weapon cards. An enemy, like one I always bring up is Bill Cosby, but he has the combined strength and speed of anyone he's ever sexually molested. And you have a handful of weapon cards. And it says on the enemy card what your goal is. And the goal is to bring Mega Bill Cosby to justice. So you have a hand of weapon cards, but the weapons are all ridiculous things like, you know, the complete contents of an IKEA or, you know, a gun that turns penises into vaginas. And you have to make an argument. It's a storytelling game, is that everybody goes, I know how to defeat Bill Cosby, and here is my plan. And you reveal your weapon card and you explain how you intend to use it to defeat the enemy. So it's a ton of fun. You know, people have played it, really like it. So what I'm doing is I'm putting out a little expansion pack of cards for that. So the expansion pack is like $5. You get some more cards for the game, and they're all Super Killer themed. And if you don't have the game yet itself, you can get it all for $30.
Nice. That's cool.
I'll have to send you a copy of Enemy Weapon. I think you'd like it.
Yeah, dude. We'll review it on the show.
I'm happy to send them along.
And then there you go. Some merch, of course.
Merch. You gotta have a little bit of merch.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we do on our campaign, so.
Well, I was going to say, your campaign, the Kor-Drath campaign looks great. I think I looked at yours before I even launched because I looked at all the Indiegogo campaigns that are doing like pretty good. And some are definitely better structured than others, but yours is like very, very solid. It's like very easily laid out. Well, because some of them like are all over the place. I'm like, you know, they're going from one thing to the other. I'm like, just like, lay it out in like a way I can understand it. The Kor-Drath campaign, it's definitely story, characters, etc. Very easy.
I appreciate it.
No, it's great. I mean, I have a big background in graphic design, so I
was going to say, so you did. I assume you said when you created the campaign. I'm like, damn, you really. You know, I just went out of the box and thought he created all these graphics. So damn.
Yeah. My job for a while was graphic designer, and I've worked on a lot of Kickstarter stuff. I actually own a small part of a tabletop game company called White Wizard Games. We make a game called Star Realms. A lot of people may have heard of. So I've definitely been around Kickstarter, and I definitely have a lot of this graphic design background. So honestly, that's the thing. As I was making the campaign, I'm like, I don't know how anyone does this without a graphic designer. This is exhausting, the amount of like stupid graphics and everything I was putting together. But I
did. I did for the few graphics we have on ours. I did do them just because I know Photoshop and stuff. I mean, I much rather just concentrate on drawing comics, but that's okay. Oh, Caleb has a question. Let's answer this.
Yeah.
Uh, everything is 300, and that
Yes.
includes a lot of stuff.
Yep, and it was 330, so you're getting a discount. And
Yeah.
that's
Look at all the
a
stuff you
lot.
get.
And that's
I'll
including
leave
the
that.
collector's edition, all the covers, a hat, a t-shirt. You don't have to get the everything tier. Like, you can add these things piecemeal. If you don't want a hat and a shirt, you might be able to save money if you just want, certain things. But this was, if you really want it all, $300. And again, I'm the kind of thing where I keep telling people, I'm like, look, I'm not gonna abandon this project. Like I'm gonna try my best to make this a thing. So I'm hoping at some point. These are collector's items, baby.
Well, hey, Randy had the same question that I did. You
Why?
got
It's right there. It says
shipping?
15.
Okay,
It's 15
so
bucks.
right now, yes. So the way back in the day when you ran a crowdfunding campaign, you had to make shipping part of it, right?
Right.
We now have the ability using like Backer Kit, and there's other services where you can charge shipping when things are actually ready to ship. This is a benefit to the customer because first of all, you're going to get the most accurate shipping possible. Like, a lot of these items are not being produced. I don't know the weights. Most people are going to overestimate on shipping. They're going to say, I don't know how much it costs, so let me overestimate and charge you more than it might actually cost. Right. This way, charging shipping when things are actually ready to ship, we're going to be able to weigh it all. You're going to get 100% an accurate shipping rate. And honestly, if for some reason you go, oh, that shipping rate is too much, I'll refund your pledge. It's not a big deal. Maybe I take a little hit. I don't care. But the point is, I don't want to charge shipping yet until we know exactly what costs are. Obviously, like gas prices go up. There might be a shipping crisis in Sudan. Like, they just fluctuate so much that all shipping will be charged. You'll get an email from me or from whatever the service is. I'll say, hey, your thing's ready to ship. Let's find out your final address and let's ship it to where you actually are.
Okay, cool.
So that's how that's going to go. Obviously, if you live in Australia, you know how much things shipping you normally cost. It sucks, but I'm going to do the best I can
and
to get you a very fair shipping rate. Yes.
They are the worst.
$2 from Red Veil. Thank you very much for the $2. Just saying, Vito Gesualdi. So
that's right. That's how it should be spelled. Honestly,
there you go. Thank you for that. $2. So risk and challenges, stuff like that. So give us a rundown on what you do besides doing the funny book thing here, because I'm guessing from stuff I've seen and read, you do comedy.
Yeah, well, right now, obviously, I think my biggest outlet is my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Vito. It's kind of a big mix of content on there. I've kind of gravitated a lot towards like movie reviews and daily news and stuff, just because it gets a lot of clicks. I'd like to get back to doing more comedy craziness and stuff. Honestly, COVID made it hard to run out on the street with a microphone and be an idiot. I was like, I'm not going to go out with a mask. I'm not going to talk to people with masks, and it's going to be stupid. It's not going to be funny. Hopefully, we're going to have some more cool stuff going on that channel. I think also, though, a thing that's been big is I've been doing a podcast with Dick Masterson called The Biggest Problem in the Universe. And that's been huge. We've built like a huge fan community for that show. We have a big supporting fan base, and they've been very helpful in helping get this comic made. So I'm very thankful to those guys. In terms of getting to do like stand up and stuff, unfortunately, I do stand up now and again, out in LA. The problem is finding a good, I don't know, comedy is in such a weird place, and a lot of the stand up is just terrible. So I have a buddy, Josh Denny. We're trying to like set up our own room, maybe get like a monthly show going, because we're just tired of doing shows with like these comedians who are, I don't know, woke comedians telling stupid jokes. We're like, this is awful. Like, and I'm not laughing, and I'm just miserable being here. So we're trying to find a subversive home for our comedy where we can tell jokes and not have people post them on the internet. That goes. Other than that, just grinding. Honestly, I'm spending a lot of time trying to make this comic as good as it can be. I'm really hoping it goes somewhere. I always tell people, like, I fell into YouTube. It was never really my goal to be a YouTuber. I always wanted to be, a writer. Honestly, I spent, 10 years of my life writing a terrible, terrible novel that will never be published, but it's actually not that bad. At some point I might revisit it, but I never, it's hard to get, I remember I wrote that book and then I cold called, every publisher in the business. And, you basically get we're really only publishing queer young adult fiction right now. And you're like, yeah, I know. They're like, well, who are the main characters? I'm like, 2 white guys. And they're like, no, do not
2
want.
cisgendered white guys.
2 cisgender white men. They're like, we can't publish this. No one will, and we have no way to market it. So I'm glad, honestly, because I wanted to make comics, but I spent time trying to learn how to draw. And I have rudimentary skills, but I could never do a whole comic. And then honestly, we've had kind of this revolution with the internet or whatever, where a lot of guys, first of all, artists are training themselves way quicker, way better. They have access to a million tutorials online, and I'm able to connect with these guys. I was like, I couldn't believe there was a Facebook group full of artists with very reasonable page rates. I was like, wait, I can just pay a guy to draw it? Why did I not consider this possibility before? And I'm so happy. Again, I had to comb through artists to find the right guy, but I really love this guy. I found Keter LeBeau. He does great work. It's the perfect look for the book. And I'm hoping I can make comics a thing. Like, again, I never thought it could be possible, but now that I can connect with other, artists and writers and creatives through the power of the internet, I can make it happen. It's crazy.
No, dude, that's really cool. That is really freaking cool. We have part of Kor-Drath. Actually, Dennis is writing a 24-page game module for role playing and stuff, so you can actually play the Kor-Drath characters and such. So, because that's his background. I mean, Dennis can tell you all about it. He's totally, I played some of that stuff growing up as a kid, but then once I really got into art and wanted to draw comics, that was my whole focus.
It eats up all your time.
Yeah. I played role-playing games all throughout the 80s, 90s. We did CCGs, tabletop games. So a lot of the mini stuff, board games. I mean, I did a lot of gaming. So yeah, we actually tested out the first draft of the module.
That's awesome.
And I'm going to make a few changes to it for the final one. But
is that compatible with any particular system, or is it just a
this first one is I already kind of started it with 5th edition. It's going to be SOP 5e compatible, but with moving forward, I've decided that a lot of these things are easy to convert over. And with Wizards doing, WotC doing what they're doing and Hasbro just doing, man, I've been playing D&D since the original box set came out. I just can't do it because, man, they can pull the rug out from you at any time. So I am going to start making everything compatible with ICRPG. I got a hold of Runehammer and I got full licensing for them, so I can create the entire Shattered Reach in there and do everything with it. So I will be making things compatible with the ICRPG. And if you do play Pathfinder, whatever, it's super easy to convert. Ours is going to be very much in the, it's going to be in the vein of, the old modules from the,
that's what I was going to say. I love the cover because it's got that old TSR style.
And it's going to have the same exact type of
I love it
setup that's in it. We're going to try and make it as close to the originals as you can, for this really nice retro feel. But if whatever system you're playing, I mean, as a DM, it's so easy to convert the stuff over. So that's the direction we're going to move. And they asked about, will I be creating, and I've gotten a lot of feedback. I will be creating the entire world and stuff and creating a role-playing book for the Shattered Reach and everything in it and the entire world. That's a very large project that I will be doing, though.
That's awesome. I never got too deep into tabletop, but I actually owned I got a bunch of the books at like a flea market at one point. I was just like reading through all the just the depth of like the universes and like even just reading that stuff is always so interesting and thrilling.
It is.
I understand how you feel about what happened to D&D though. I'm in the same boat. I'm a big Magic the Gathering guy and I have been for a long time. And Hasbro, you're just like, what are you guys doing? Stop. And they're like, we're gonna do a Doctor Who set. And you're like, no, stop making this into like a giant franchise thing, man. Like
Magic was my original one. I played the first 3 series, and I unfortunately I was stupid and I sold off all my Magic cards because I'm a huge Star Trek and a Star Wars fan. So I sold off all my Magic stuff so that I could afford the Star Wars, Star Trek CCGs. My kids came along. They were into Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! So we started delving into that. Marvel Overpower, that was a huge one. I still own those. But, I got rid of my Magic. And that I can't believe that game is still stuck around all this time.
I know some guys who held on to all their stuff. I know one guy, and he's been judging the game since like 1996 and never sold anything. Wow. And dude, but the worst part is he's like a pack rat. So I would just go into his room. He used to live in the cheapest, like $300 a month apartment, and every surface in his room was covered in Magic cards. And I would just pick it up and I would go, Greg, there's literally $5,000 worth of cards here. Just sell these and go get a real place. And he's like, I'm fine. I'm like, at least put them in a binder, put them in a sleeve.
Do something.
Finally, he's like cleaned up and he's like organized them all. He has so many cards. He bought a library card catalog to keep half his cards in. So yeah, wow. I think about it now, and I used to stand in that guy's bedroom, and I think now I'm like, I was standing in what is now probably worth like $5 million in this shitty. At one point, I stayed the night as an apartment, got out of the shower, went into the living room, and my foot went through the floor into his downstairs neighbor's apartment.
Holy shit!
And they were down there, and they're like, "Hey, bro, you just broke a hole in my ceiling." And I'm like, "Yeah, because you live in like a fucking crack shack. What do you want me to do?" So that's
God.
There was like $5 million of Magic cards in a crack shack in the middle of Western Massachusetts.
And what's even worse is some of the cards fell through to the down below apartment.
Probably.
And they were like, it's raining gold.
The guy down below catches and he goes, "Oh wow, $1,000 card! Woohoo!"
It was literally the ultimate nerd cave. It was like every stereotype you can think of. Pizza boxes, like literally 50 pizza boxes. I'm like, guys, there's a dumpster outside. And they're like, yeah, we'll get to it, man. So
we'll get to it.
Not that I'm the cleanest guy. I shouldn't complain.
So are you a comic book collector or just manga still, or not much?
In terms of what I'm reading, I pretty much read digitally now, a lot of stuff. Yeah. Again, there's really, in terms of like Western comics, well, I did just pick up the 8-Ball collection. Again, I'm a big Daniel Clowes guy. Mm-hmm. I love his stuff. I'm trying to think, I end up just rereading all the stuff I already own. I probably should branch out and get some other stuff. Yeah.
I wish I did that.
I always keep rereading. I have, did you ever read Planetary? That's a great one.
Yeah, I remember Planetary.
I got into Ex Machina. That was a good one. Yep. Transmetropolitan, all this like classic stupid stuff.
I'm trying to remember. Did Klaus do Black Hole?
No. Black Hole was what? Andy something or whatever.
I'm trying to remember who did that, because I was just bringing it up because I know Dennis has the set and he's trying to unload it. So I think you still are, aren't you? But I thought it was.
Well, it's one of those because it's cool underground, and it's just such a unique thing. It's not something you're going to run across. It was a low print run, their first prints, but the question is, am I going to just sit down and read it?
It's not like an easy read.
Right, exactly. Is it something I'm going to do again, where there are guys that live and breathe this stuff, and it might just find a better home. I don't mind it. I don't mind owning it because it's fun, but I just don't know if I'm ever going to read it again. And might as well put my money in, sell that, and get something else.
There you go. ASE presents. Thanks for the $5. Vito is Nito. Thanks for having him on.
That's Mint
Mint
Salad.
Salad.
She's a longtime supporter. We love Mint Salad.
No, that's awesome.
That is.
She actually drew the trading card of the two characters at the malt shop, a la Archie Comics.
Oh,
if
let's
you
go
hit,
down.
if you hit
Thank
updates, actually, if you hit the updates tab, you can see a bigger version of that card
Oh, okay.
from the great Mint Salad.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you,
cool.
Mint.
Nice.
Yeah, having
Very
fun.
cool.
That
That's
fun
a good one
little,
too. I like the
I like
graphic
that one.
design on that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very fun.
cool.
What was I going to say? Actually, speaking of Allred, I did pick up X-Statix has returned. I don't know if you guys have
I
read
saw that.
X-Statix.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm checking that out a little bit. And also I have the Shonen Jump app, reading the freshest nonsense from Japan. I don't know if you guys have heard of Spy X Family at all.
No, I haven't.
Okay, so this is a pretty funny one. It's basically it's a World War II Nazi analog where there's this guy, he's like an ultimate super spy, and he needs to get close to what this universe's version of Hitler is like, right? They want you to infiltrate, befriend Hitler, and ultimately assassinate him. So he goes to this German type town or whatever, establishes a fake identity, and he goes, okay, I got to get a family. So he goes to adopt a kid, and he adopts this adorable little pink-haired girl who is actually psychic and can tell what everyone around her is saying. Then he meets this other girl who is also secretly an assassin for hire, but in normal life is like a complete klutz moron. So it's this like odd family of everyone in the family has a secret that they're not telling anyone else. The wife is like, I can kill guys just by, hitting them with my ninja daggers or whatever. He's like, I'm a secret spy. I can infiltrate anything. And the girl is reading. I guess the girl knows everything because she's reading all their minds. She's like, my mom and dad are awesome. This is the best family ever. And it's all about them trying to get close and like befriend people and her going to school.
Called?
It's called Spy X Family. And it's just really fun. It's really funny. And it's just
is that one of the ones in Shonen Jump?
That is in Shonen Jump, yeah.
Okay.
So it's very popular right now. And it's just again, I really like, good comedic stories. I love comedy. Yeah. And I think that's part of why I gravitated a bit towards manga is I think they have a really good sensibility of, having this comedic background. Like something like Dragon Ball, if you look at what that guy, originally Dragon Ball was completely a gag comic. It was like 100% jokes and only kind of morphed into like a fighting comic once he realized, hey, everybody really likes when I dress these guys up in karate outfits and make them fight each other. So I really like, mixing these humor universes with, and then adding the serious action. And I think when you laugh along with these characters, when they make you laugh, when suddenly they're in trouble and someone's going to kill them, you're like, oh my God, don't kill that guy. I really like that guy. He makes me laugh all the time. And you form this like this real psychological attachment to them. I think that's why Spider-Man is such a popular character, is he's funny. And you're like, oh God, I love Spider-Man. I want to hang out with Spider-Man. And then Doc Ock is going to kill Spider-Man. You're like, I fucking hate Doc. Leave Spider-Man alone. He didn't do anything to anybody, So yeah, I think humor is a big part of. I mean, they are comic books at the end of the day.
No, I agree with you. I like humor sensibilities in books. The first two books I did for crowdfunding were First Man, my superhero guide that I made, when I was a kid. And when people ask, what's First Man, it's the best way to explain it is it's a little bit of Shazam, because it's instead of a little kid, it's a 17-year-old that transforms into this big hero. It's a little bit of Marvel, Captain Marvel, because of the space stuff, but it's a little bit of Spider-Man because he's, it has that type of humor in it. So
he's cracking wise and a little bit.
Yeah. And I love stuff like that. I always have. So, even Kor-Drath has, not nearly as much, but there's some jabs in Kor-Drath and stuff as well.
You got to have humor. I mean, it's just got to be a fun book, and I don't want books preaching at me. I mean, I dropped a year ago. I dropped all my Marvel and DC. I no longer get them, so I went and spent $105 today at my local comic shop, and it's all independent stuff. Image, IDW, Small Point Press, and a lot of small publishers. Plus, then I do a lot of the CG books, of the bulk of them. There's so many good ones. Why give my money to, people that don't care about you?
Yeah, and people who are, it really is I mean, it's a tragedy. I don't know what happens. My theory is always that these companies at one point they said, okay, everybody's telling us to be more diverse and more inclusive. So we'll hire one of these pink-haired weirdos and they can run our, Department of Diversity and Inclusion, whatever. We saw this a lot of like Netflix, where these guys who come in, they say, oh, we're just going to promote marginalized creators and we're just going to help you find, get in touch with, a different sector of the audience. It all sounds great on paper. I go, yeah, if a bunch of gay guys want to read comic books, sure, we can probably find a title they'd like or something that makes them feel included. But then it starts getting to the point where they go, oh, but you can't hire this guy and you can't do this storyline. They're not adding to the equation. All they do is subtract. All they do is take things away. And that was like, a big thing that I did that a lot of people know me for is when Dave Chappelle was being protested by Netflix employees that they were trying to kick Dave Chappelle off the network and say this guy is toxic, he's evil. Again, not adding something, not saying, hey, well, we're going to add some programming that counters that out. Just take it away. We want Dave Chappelle gone.
Yep.
So that was a thing. I don't know if you guys saw it, where me and a buddy, we went to the Netflix protest and we held up signs that said, we like jokes. And then a bunch
I saw that. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then we got violently attacked for
didn't somebody like jokes. Was it you guys that had the sign taken from you and stuff?
Yes, they took my sign.
And the dude's like, he's got a weapon.
Yes,
he's got a weapon. And it's just like, what are you
He tried to get the crowd to kick my ass. Like, that's what he was doing. He's got a weapon. Everyone, let's kick his ass. And I'm like, right. Luckily, whenever I'm in those situations, I just pretend I'm mentally handicapped, and people, I go, I don't know what's going on. Hey, and they go, all right, well, we don't want to beat up the retarded fat guy. But that was like, again, it's an example of, Netflix hires these people thinking they're going to set them on the right path, and all they can do is censor and destroy. They don't add anything to the equation, and it's crazy.
They don't create anything. Yeah. And
no, they really don't.
They don't. And the stuff that comes out that they push that they're all proud of is garbage. And then when you critique it, you're obviously, they'll just pick anything. It's like, oh, the lead character is a woman, so you must be a misogynist. Oh, the lead character was a black person, you must be a racist. Like, no, it's just garbage. The biggest
go ahead.
Well, I was going to say the biggest thing doesn't have to do with the movie or anything, but Dennis was out of town last week, so I don't know if he saw this. You might have, but did you see that crazy professor in New York with the machete?
Yes,
incident?
I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and she finally gets arrested, and she puts out a statement or whatever saying, oh, it's because they're misogynist and racist. It's like, no, bitch. It's because you chased after these guys around their SUV. It's bad enough you came to the door with it, but then you came outside and chased them around an SUV with a machete.
These people, they invent worlds to live in, and it's crazy. Like with Juicy Smollett, the guy who,
God, yeah.
Said, I got attacked by two MAGA guys. They tried to hang me outside the subway.
In Chicago.
Chicago, yeah.
During a what was it called? The tundra or whatever the hell.
Yeah, it was like a giant snowstorm. A bunch of MAGA guys went around looking for black guys to terrorize in Chicago. And it's bad enough. Okay, but you go, okay, it's one crazy guy, that's fine. But then the Black Lives Matter organization, after everything has come out, we know it's fake. We have the two Uganda brothers are like, yeah, he told us to hang him. It was funny. And after we have all the evidence and we know exactly what happened, Black Lives Matter comes out and they go, well, we just can never believe the police. We stand with Juicy Smollett. And you're like, what fucking can't, even when you have the worst possible thing, can't your organization at least go, yeah, we got one wrong. We'll admit this one was the goof. And it's like, no, they always double down. That's the
problem. They just can't. They can't apologize. They can't say they got it wrong. It was like during that year, 2020, whatever. What was it? San Francisco. Somebody hung up some workout equipment from a tree.
Workout equipment, yeah.
And it's like they're hanging nooses in the park, and it's like, what are you talking about? That's like a TRX band. For
Same with the
working
stupid
out.
NASCAR pull down. Oh, somebody
Yes.
tied a noose in this NASCAR garage. No, you know that's not what happened. Come on.
Yeah,
Don't be-
and
why would
even
they-
the
if
other
you ask
NASCAR
them, they'll go, why did they? Well, then why did they tie it like that? You could tie it a different way. You're like, I don't know, man. Maybe just the guy's really good at tying knots. Like, what
that
do you want?
happens to be the way that they pull them, and other NASCAR guys go, "Yeah, ours is that way too." It's just like, seriously. But look at Budweiser right now. Look,
Oh,
if
God.
they would have just come out and said, "Look, we're sorry, we really screwed up. You know, we did it," people would have said, "You know what? They would have lost a little bit, but I think people would have been." But no, it wasn't our fault. It was the third party advertisers.
Yeah.
It was the people who took it the wrong way. It was Dylan, the CEO and the execs were like, it's everybody else's fault but ours. And that's what pisses everybody off the most. And they believe that. And, you know, as of today, they went down another 3%. People are tired.
Yeah, it's definitely fallen. They did not respond to that in the best way. It's really, the doubling down will drive you nuts. I want to hope that slowly people are like, even in private, admitting they were wrong. I've told people recently, you know, for the longest time, I've said, listen, you know, I support your right to call yourself whatever you want. I can't stop you. It's America. But ultimately, I think a lot of this transgender stuff, I don't think a man can become a woman. Call me crazy. Okay. That's my belief. And I also think that if you say that a man can become a woman, some crazy shit's going to start happening. Like your sports are going to start getting taken over by guys. And everybody, I remember all my liberal friends, because I'm a center left kind of guy. They all went, oh, you're just being a bigot. That's never going to happen. You're fucking nuts. And then, like, in the last month, my buddy came to me and he's like, hey, remember I gave you all that shit about all that trans stuff? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, you might have had a point. I'm like, all right, well, you know, I'm sad we had to go this far down the rabbit hole to figure it out. I mean, ultimately, the funny thing for him is he's a big disc golf guy. He loves frisbee golf.
Oh yeah.
And I guess there's a transgender woman who is taking over the frisbee golf circuit and destroying the sport from the inside. And I'm like, you have to get to the point of frisbee golf before you understood what I was talking about. Nothing else was a warning. All right, fine. If that's the final straw for you is frisbee golf, at least we're on the same page.
But the first step to getting help is admitting you have a problem.
Yes,
that's right.
Once it shows up at your doorstep, you go, all right, I think it's gone a little too far. Again, no hate in my heart. It's just there's a lot of weird problems that come. You gotta, I don't know. We can't talk about it. That's the other problem. Is that
that's the biggest problem.
That's all J.K. Rowling ever did was like, listen, I have some concerns, and everyone, this woman is the greatest bigot who ever existed. And like, what do you find? No, she made Harry Potter. What are you talking about? Like, no. She wants to literally kill trans kids. I'm like, I'm pretty sure this nice old British lady does not want to kill your children. I can pretty much guarantee that.
Well, or the kid that went to school with the shirt that said there's only two genders and basically has it removed. He sticks up for his right. What a great kid. What was he, 12 years old? Goes before the school board, you know, talks to him, reads him. He goes, I'm not trying to create trouble. But he goes, I can wear this. And if not, but yet I'm inundated in all my classrooms and walking down the hall with pride flags and everything else going down there. If you're allowed to do that, I should be allowed to wear this.
Yeah.
The principal took him into the office and said, look, pal, that shirt's a no-go. So take it off, put this shirt on it. And by the way, here's a book on how to suck dick. So go do some reading. You can get it right at the library here in school.
It really breaks my heart as a guy who like grew up thinking like, all right, science. Everybody understands science. Science is important. And then you wear a shirt that says there are two genders, which is a scientific fact. My God. And you're the enemy of the school system at that point. This is ludicrous. I don't know. It drives you nuts.
It's XX or XY. That there's just nothing else around it. But nope, we can't have science as the basis unless it's for anything else that they deem.
Well, I got to say, ultimately, this is why independent creation is so important right now. Is the mainstream has clearly gone ideologically fucking insane. I don't think everybody in the mainstream has been insane, but I think they've let in so many people into positions of power. I mean, I was reading a thing recently. It was an article, where they talked to a bunch of guys working in Hollywood, and they go, I don't agree with any of it, but I know I'll lose my job if I say anything. These people are trapped. There are good people within the system, but they're trapped because their bosses don't want to get them in trouble. But I think as independents, ultimately, at the end of the day, money talks. If Hollywood looks at what we're doing, or they look at independent movies and music and whatever, and if it's making money and if it's entertaining audiences, they're going to go, you know what? I care about, I thought I cared about the ideology, but at the end of the day, I care much more about our balance sheet. They want to make stories that sell. They want to make, good entertainment. And if we demonstrate to them, hey, there's an audience for this. People like this stuff, Like, I'm going to have some jokes in there that I'm sure will push a few feathers and maybe take down some sacred cows. I'm not pushing the edge that hard, but it seems like any joke you make these days is considered way too offensive. So who knows? But just the fact that people are out here going, listen, you can hold these opinions and you can talk about it and you can joke about it, and there's an audience for it. I keep saying I'm waiting for the next big, like, independent comedy movie. We don't make comedy movies anymore because you can't make jokes. You can't joke about anything.
Well, think of all
they do,
comedies,
but they're just not that funny.
Right?
No, not at all.
Half of the classics of comedies cannot be made today. I mean,
exactly.
Blazing Saddles, absolutely great movie. You absolutely could not make this today without.
Dude, you don't have to go that far back. You can't make Tropic Thunder today.
No, you couldn't make Tropic Thunder, which is crazy. We know that Tropic Thunder is making fun of how stupid blackface is. It looks ridiculous. Like, that's the joke. That it's not an accurate representation of black people. We know this. And that's what I'm saying is, like, I keep dreaming. I'm doing comics and other guys are making all sorts of stuff. I'm waiting for Hollywood to just, I think there's going to be some great independent comedy movie that comes along and makes fun of race and makes fun of sex and touches on all the trans stuff. And everyone's going to love it. And Hollywood's going to go, you know what? Maybe it is safe to talk about this stuff, to joke about this stuff. Maybe the audience is ready for it. And I'm hoping we're helping them turn a corner just by creating.
It'll come back.
Well, I think one of the things, and you know this as a comedian, is nothing is really off limits to make jokes about. No. But for some reason, everything is off limits unless you just want to do your whole set about making fun of white guys. Then you're fine.
Right.
You're 100% fine. And it's like, no, nothing is off limits.
Again, I'll get in a room with, I was going to say, I get in a room with like a bunch of comedians, and the stuff they're saying is fucking hilarious. And we're talking about blacks and gays and trans and, Mexicans or whatever. And we can't tell any of these jokes on stage, and it's a crime because we're laughing our asses off, Right. It's a tough time. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted a little bit.
No. I mean, you basically said it. I used to do improv. I dabbled in stand-up years ago, but I started doing improv in 2005 and pretty much did it every weekend for 10, 12 years. And then probably once or twice a month up until COVID hit. And I haven't done it since, but I loved it. And there's stuff we did in 2005 we couldn't get away with now,
Yeah. It's crazy how quick it shifts.
You go down the slippery slope and it happens so quickly, and that's why you never take that first step. So Vito, I'm a huge X-Men fan. This is a lot of your guys are on here and they may not know it. So I have collected X-Men since the 1970s, and I went back and collected them all. So I finally got my number 1 signed by Stan Lee when he was still with us. Wow. And it's kind of like my pinnacle book, right? But X-Men was so good, and I wanted everything. Every X-Men title, X-Force, X-Factor, every Excalibur, everything in between. I'm a completist. I love it. I kept saying, if they keep going down this path, I'm going to get rid of I'm going to stop collecting X-Men. Nobody believed me. Even the guys on our own channel gave me shit every week because, you bought X books. Yep. But they crossed that line with X-Men Green. And I said, if they cross this line, I'm done. And they did. I couldn't take it anymore. The writing is so bad. It is so ridiculous and far out there. I walked in. I canceled all my Marvel, all my DC. And he was like, oh, no. And I'm like, but the good news is I'll be getting independent books. So I literally go through previews every month just to see what's new coming out that looks cool, a little edgy, some fun, and I do it. And then, of course, everything from on CG, a lot of these crowdfunding books, I just get them because they're so well done. And these are the type of projects like Superkiller that you put so much heart and energy and love into it. The big three just can't do it. Really, the big two, but images.
Well, they've really the talent they're getting is just not. They can't get talent anymore. They just hire anybody. It seems like.
Right.
Right.
Well, I was going to say too, Dennis. I don't know if you heard this from last week that Image is leaving Diamond.
I did. I was away from most of the news. That one did sneak in, and I'm like, oh, so Image. I mean, Diamond is another one that has just fallen, but they've never cared about the end customer. So I am glad to see it actually, and they're going to get better service from Lunar and some of the other ones that are out there. Penguin.
Who does Diamond still have at this point? Is it just Marvel?
Boom and IDW. I guess I haven't looked at a previews in a while.
It's just a few of the small presses.
Okay.
And then what? Marvel still does stuff through Diamond? They're not exclusive with the other one, or they don't?
DC is Penguin, right?
Yeah.
DC's totally out. Yeah. And Brian brings up a good point too with this. It's not that they can't get talent, it's they don't want to pay their talent, so they just hire people that'll work for peanuts and exposure. Like I said, I'm more into the art side of things. Look, Marvel and DC still have a few really good artists, but not the stable they used to have. I mean, in the 90s, well, even in the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s, they were just kicking on all cylinders art-wise. And now it's, you can count on maybe one hand from each company, the artists that
number
really
of decent
stick out.
artists. Yeah.
No, and it's true. Like the X-Men in DC right now. You got Tinny Howard and a bunch of the new folks that are coming in there. They've openly admitted we don't really want to write comics. They want to be writing Dungeons and Dragons stuff. They couldn't get hired, so Marvel hired them to write their LGBTQ stuff for it, and that's where the direction they've taken it. And I'm like, so they never read the source material, they never went back and checked it, and it's just the worst stuff ever. They don't care about it, and unfortunately, that's what they're doing because they're not paying their people.
No, it sounds like, as you said, they just find people who want to get paid in exposure, which, works. A lot of people want to be able to put in their resume, hey, I wrote a Batman, I wrote a Green Lantern, or whatever the hell else. But you're not going to get, like, anybody, a good person is going to go, no, you got to pay me, motherfucker. What are you talking
about?
Exactly. Guys, go check out Vito Superkillers. The link is in the description below. It's been posted throughout the live stream. I do want to do the video, but I don't know if I might have to bring it back up because I don't know if I clicked the dumb little button for share audio. So let's find out real quick.
All right.
Let me turn off or do this.
Nope.
I have no audio now.
All right. I will stop sharing and reshare, but this time click the button for audio.
And while he's doing that, guys, make sure you everything will be in the description below. Vito's stuff will be there. Andy's channel will be there. The Dennis and Andy show at Dennis Turner. That's my YouTube. You can check that. Make sure you guys subscribe to all of our great stuff that we do as well.
I warn you, you're gonna get my whole backstory again, but
that's okay. We don't mind.
My name is Vito Gesualdi, and I am the creator of Superkiller. Right there on the hat, you can see
audio.
An exciting new graphic novel that I am so excited to tell you about. But first, I want to tell you guys my story and why this book means so much to me. Now, I currently live in Los Angeles, California, a hellhole of human misery, if there ever was one. I moved here about making it in the entertainment industry. I wanted to work in Hollywood. I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to be a comedian. I wanted to do so many things. What I quickly learned, though, is that opportunities are not exactly easy to come by out here. There's a big long list of the type of people who get hired in Hollywood right now. And for some reason, fat Italian idiot is not one of the boxes they're looking to check. So after a decade of trying to convince these people to give me a shot, I decided to do something which seemed crazy at the time and go independent. I took a big risk on myself, and I'm happy to say it paid off. And I now have a YouTube channel with over 250,000 subscribers. A few years ago, I was able to kickstart my own card game and raised over $10,000 from my extremely awesome backers. And now I get to do comedy every single week as part of the Biggest Problem in the Universe podcast, where me and my co-host Dick Masterson say some things we're probably going to get canceled for.
Nobody knows. This sounds like a fucking another crisis actor.
Stop it! Stop it!
No! Point is, what I've learned is that we no longer need to rely on the mainstream for our entertainment. There is an independent revolution going on right now, and I am so excited to be joining their ranks with my first ever graphic novel, Superkiller. Superkiller is the story of multiversal assassin Sam King, a man with a very important job. See, the multiverse is kind of like a cosmic circuit breaker. Plug in too many worlds, and you risk overloading the entire system and erasing all of reality. Thus, Sam's job is to infiltrate worlds scheduled for cancellation, assassinate their primary hero, and unplug that world from the cosmic stack. Unfortunately for Sam, these heroes aren't going down without a fight. Armed only with his trusty ray gun, Sam must outwit and outsmart some of the most powerful heroes in the multiverse, facing off against alien supermen, night-crawling animal-themed detectives, and even the occasional magical girl. Superkiller is the kind of they don't want us to make anymore. It's got stylish, over-the-top violence, it's got a legitimately hilarious plot, and best of all, it's got sexy ladies in it. Can you believe it? God forbid a red-blooded American man be allowed to read a comic book with a sexy lady in it. Guys, we all know mainstream entertainment sucks now. The movies suck, the TV shows suck, the comic books suck, and the only
That is awesome.
is to create an independent alternative to rival the mainstream. These entertainment companies say there's no room for guys like us, so we're taking their advice and creating our own space. We can show them that there is a market for good storytelling, for funny jokes, for sexy women. These are things that we want. Why did you take them away from us? The mainstream has forgotten how to tell good stories, and it's up to us to show them how it's done. And who knows? If we do a good enough job, maybe we're going to be the next mainstream. Wouldn't that be something? Superkiller #1, available now on Indiegogo. I'm so grateful for everyone who supported me thus far, and I'm so happy that you're joining me on the next step of my creative journey. I promise, I won't let you down.
Dude, that
got
is
a little
awesome.
Might have got a little sappy there at the end, but I do take this seriously.
Best promo ever.
Seriously, that was great.
Vito speaks the truth. By the way, Brian, hello.
Well, I want people to connect,
Great.
you know, like, I want people to connect with why I care about this stuff, why I want to make this stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Is that I've wanted to make this stuff forever, and it's impossible to get this stuff made. I mean, I bring up the story. I had a pitch for an animated series. We were going to meet with some guys in Hollywood, you know, some studio executives, and then we go to Netflix and we protest Dave Chappelle. And next thing I know, I can't get any emails answered anymore. And I go, well, I burned all those fucking bridges,
Oh,
you know.
Yeah.
But you know what? I wouldn't take it back because it's like that's what I do. That's the kind of person I am, and I don't want to be, you know, some fake guy who's just going into the system and being like, okay, don't make any jokes about this, don't tell any stories about this, don't piss
Right.
off the pink-haired lady, or you're gonna get fired. Like there needs to be like a ground up destruction of the gatekeeping system. And man,
Yeah.
I'm just glad we can make stuff independently and that there's an audience for it. It's very exciting. I hope something comes
no,
of it
dude,
because
that's
you
really
know.
cool.
I think this is how you change the culture. Look, I don't think I'm going to change the culture myself, but I hope as part of a larger, you know, independent movement that, you know, I always believed when the internet showed up, I was like, oh, this is going to be great because we're going to be the ones making movies and TV shows. We have the
Yeah.
ability, and somehow they've kept us all down and made it impossible to get a foothold. But it seems like, I don't know, it just seems like now finally people are so sick of the mainstream that they're like, you know what, just give me something that I haven't seen before, that isn't covered in politics.
Yep.
And I'm hoping we're making something happen. You guys, Kor-Drath, everybody. It's exciting.
Thanks. No, I agree with you wholeheartedly. I know Dennis does. Guys, like I said, check out Super Killer. It is in the link. Randy's been posting them. Great. I mean, in the description below. And speaking of Kor-Drath, before we roll, got to bring it up. Kor-Drath, The Reckoning, 76 pages, ball busting, bombastic, barbarian action. We are actually over 85,000. Randy's always on the ball, and he will, I'm sure, post the total because we did run a mirror campaign on another platform that's over. So we're cruising to the next stretch goal of 90,000. And at 90,000, just trying to get over here for the images that are much easier to show. We unlocked the Necronite playable character card, 7x10, cool art on the front, all his playable stats on the back. This one goes along with the already unlocked Kor-Drath, Adriana, and Lilith character cards. There it is. I knew we'd get it. Randy, you were a man. Yeah, so we are cruising along there. Seriously, if you like Game of Thrones, if you like Conan, if you like Dungeons and Dragons, you will enjoy Kor-Drath. The first 11 pages or 8 pages are here on the campaign, but as to not load the page up with tons of stuff, if you click the link right here where it says read pages 1 through 8 below, well, that'll take you to Kor-Drath.com where you can read the first 11 pages, and one of them is not safe for work. Let's just say after a hard day of bludgeoning and killing, Kor-Drath and Adriana are burning off a little steam. We'll just leave it at that.
Oh, claiming his just rewards.
That's right. Vito knows. So check it out. I guarantee you're going to love it. I'm working on page 60 out of 76, guys. Page 60. We're getting close.
It's getting there.
So
You almost smell it.
You can almost smell it. When I smell that paper and that print, oh, it's going to be great. 5 covers to choose from.
Pick your brain about printing at some point.
Yeah, dude.
See, I get all obsessive. I'm like, oh, what page weight am I going to use? Oh, what cover?
Oh yeah, no, anytime. Oh, yeah. I think I got it nailed down pretty good because the first 2 volumes of First Man weren't intentionally printed on different weights, but because of paper stuff going on last year, volume 2 was a little bit lighter, but I actually like it. So and it's still a nice feel to the book. So yeah,
sometimes
dude, we
those lighter paperweights are easier to. Yeah, I gotta buy a bunch of different books from everybody and be like, tell me exactly what page weights this used and this used. I got a couple books coming in to examine.
Cool. There's the Bud Root variant cover of Lilith. So you can also get that, of course. Of course, the Conan
I love this cover. Who did this cover?
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Okay. It's the homage cover.
It's the homage cover of Conan #1.
Yeah, so that one's awesome. I remember looking at. I was actually looking for someone to do a Conan cover, and yours came up. I was like, "Oh, that's sick."
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I think I assumed you were busy at the time.
Yeah, I'm a little.
I hear that.
So, but you know, I think Super Killer looks great, so we can definitely talk maybe for volume 2.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Got the oversized artist edition. You can check out if you're into artist editions where you can see all the glory of the black and white artwork. Because I work 100% original. I started drawing comics in 1991. Yeah. So, you know, I'm just used to paper. I do some things digitally, but I have original art for everything I've worked on. So
that's awesome.
So yeah, and then like we talked about, there is the role-playing game for those just joining. It is going to be at least 24 pages. It's in the format of the old Dungeons and Dragon game modules. The cover is by my buddy Bart Sears with colors by Dan Lawless. So you can definitely check that out as well. Speaking of humor, in all my books, Vito, I do a parody ad. Now, in the First Man books, they were literally fake hostess ads.
Yeah,
They
I
were
love those.
hosted. Yeah. But you know what? A tasty cake didn't really fit the Kor-Drath world, so Dennis came up with Axe Me Mead. Axe Mead.
If you're a fan of Looney Tunes, you will love
Yeah.
this. Wraith season, zombie season.
That's right.
Wraith season.
Axe me. I got there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
every book
Gotta
has a
have
parody ad. I draw it in a throwback style. I color it flat, just like the old school ads, and they're a hoot, and people enjoy them. And like you, we've got the heavy metal Kor-Drath T-shirt still available,
Sick.
and the T-shirts will be coming down sometime, probably mid-July, end of July, so we can get them to the printer and start shipping those out since those ship separately. The Bud Root shirt, nice full color of his cover. If you want to get a beanie, like Vito said, he likes ordering, he put things in his campaign for himself. I'm bald. I need to keep the dome warm in the winter. So a Kor-Drath beanie will do
That's why I
that.
have the snapback hats, man. I love them. I
That's
put a
right.
hat on my campaign.
That's right. And
I think
of course, like I
the
said,
dungeon module is a great add-on. That's very cool.
cool. And you can get it by itself. So if somebody were to look at this
Yeah.
and be like, I just want the game. Well, there's a tier for that too. So guys, go
Nice.
check out Kor-Drath. Go check out Super Killers. Next week on the show, we're going to have Mike Barron on the show, 5 p.m.
Nice.
next Wednesday. Mike has a new project he wants to talk about. He's going to be launching soon. So
Always
he
a
will
great
be on the
returning
show.
guest.
What's that?
Always a great returning guest. Love Mike.
Oh, yeah. So Mike's on next week. Hopefully, fingers crossed, Dennis and I will catch a movie tomorrow night so we can pop up the movie review Friday morning for you guys. Don't know what we're seeing yet, but
Little Mermaid. What are you talking about?
No, that is not on the list.
No,
It's escaped.
definitely not.
No.
Now that I'm back, I started popping my quick flips up from the new comics that I got from New Comic Wednesday. So I got 3 of them up before the show. So, make sure you subscribe so you can check out the new books and see if anything over there piques your interest as well.
That's right. Vito, hang back after we close the show so we can do a little chat.
Yeah,
And
sure.
we're gonna end it, but I do want to say thank you for joining us today, Vito. It was a freaking fantastic conversation.
Yep, it was great to
Absolutely.
meet you, bud.
Thank you so much. I love you guys.
And I hope Super Killers, I hope the word gets out on replays and stuff. So,
Yeah. No, I'm very happy
Yeah.
with where we're at, and it's only up from here.
awesome. Guys, we'll catch you later. Bye-bye,
Live long and
everybody.
prosper.
No, gang signs, Dennis. How many times? Oh.